To answer your question, I certainly feel much better than I did. I'm assuming I'm going to have the lingering congestion for a while. So I have a little bit of that. And then I would also assume as a byproduct of the congestion, workouts are going to be a little more difficult for a little while.
Yeah, I was very sad to see the streak end.
Yeah, I know.
All good things must come to an end.
That's all right. It made me feel good that I was thinking about it in terms of like a zombie apocalypse type scenario. I had a good 3-year run.
That's a hell of a run.
Yeah. I had more fun framing it in the context of a zombie apocalypse too.
Yeah.
So I put just kind of a huge mix of stuff topic-wise because I really haven't taken the time to sit down and truly generate an idea for the show. I kind of wanted to make it just something lightweight and easy though, because it sounds like you've had a bit of a rough time. So I'm not beholden to anything specific.
Yeah.
Like just a casual conversation I thought would probably be the good recommendation for this show.
Yeah, it's been... can you say something?
Yeah, testing. 1 and 2.
All right, thank you. Yeah. I just fixed my thing. It's been a week for sure. Cool. I love automation. I use macOS Automator all the time.
Funnily enough, I have never used Automator.
Well, I mean,
I've opened it up and looked at it, but
I mean, so if you want to hide all of your 3-letter extensions, what do you do?
Why would you want to hide them?
Because they are ugly.
I make it visible so that I can change them on the fly without having to go to the command line.
I say that I used to hide the 3-letter extensions, but I stopped doing that. But I'd created an Automator script I loved it because it was like you can create an automation and add it to the contextual menu. So like if you right click on the thing, it'll show up there. Like your automation will show up there. So I used to have an automation for in the Finder, so that if you had files there, you could you could select the files, right click on them, and say hide the 3-letter extension, or show the 3. I had both. I could show it too, so it was pretty cool. It's better than going in, get info and checking or unchecking that box.
That's a fairly neat use.
I have an so I have been using the Home app. In my previous house, I was using TP-Link smart switches for the light switches, and they are not HomeKit compatible. But there's a bit of software called Homebridge that will take something like that. That's a fairly popular product, and it's throws it into HomeKit. And so in the new house, I've got the same light switches, and I've been using HomeKit, and I really like HomeKit.
Yeah, I don't have anything left that is not HomeKit compatible anymore. Well, I rephrase that. I don't have anything left from a smart device standpoint.
Yeah.
that I would want to integrate with the home that is not HomeKit anymore.
Yeah. Because
I have obviously a bunch of Ubiquity stuff, but that's what I use for the cameras, and I intentionally don't want those, and that's why I chose the Ubiquity cameras. It's because I can run a local NVR and not have any integration or anything else.
That makes me wonder, does the Amplify, can you modify your Amplify router from your computer, or do you have to use the phone app?
I've never tried from the computer. I vaguely remember some mention of either plans to have at least a very limited like web interface, or it may have even been that there were plans at one point, but they were scrapped in favor of the app. I'm not sure.
Like, I like the app. The app is good, but I also, from time to time, want I want to sit at my computer and do it. Have you messed around with the Fortinet interface?
A little bit, yeah.
It's a really good interface. I saw it, and I was really impressed by it. It's like, if it's a different paradigm, but if somebody could come up with that good of an interface, or equally good enough interface for a content, like a video content streaming service, they would be the best.
What is it about the Fortinet interface that you love so much?
Well, all the naked women are pretty cool. I don't know. It just seems so, like, where everything seems so logical. How to get to it seems so good. If you needed to pull up the command line, you don't have to switch over to a command line. There's a command line interface in the web interface, and it seemed like a really clever implementation of, like, all the features and ability to do whatever it is that you want from there.
Okay. I mean, I'm not knocking it for sure, but to me it's not as spectacular as you felt, and so I was curious why. And I think it's just because I've used a wide range of those products with varying degrees of similar interfaces. So I think that's part of why I don't get as excited about theirs.
Sure, I can understand that.
It's like the old, it used to be Astaro Security. It was you could get it as an appliance, or you could run your own, basically, hardware, and then install a custom image, and it would turn it into an appliance, so to speak. But their interface was phenomenal. It was later purchased by Sophos. It's now branded Sophos Unified Threat Management, I believe. And when Sophos took it over and redid everything, the interface is horrible. Like, it's so far beyond garbage that it's completely unrecognizable.
It's like that scene from Fight Club where Brad Pitt's character beats up Jared Leto's character, and he said, I wanted to destroy... No. Not Brad Pitt's character. Edward Norton's character beats up Jared Leto's character, and he said he wanted to destroy something beautiful. Is it like that?
I mean, if they didn't have that mentality, then they just have really bad design.
Yeah. So I like your list of topics.
Real quick before we divert from this piece, I am fairly happy with the Unify interface for the Dream Machine. So at some point, remind me and I'll show you.
I've briefly seen it, but haven't. I've briefly seen it, but I hadn't seen anyone do anything with it. And, like, here's how you configure this, or here's how you configure that. And so I might, that would be interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, I default to using the app most of the time, but it is nice that I can just pull it up in the browser as well.
Yeah, I want that for Amplify. Same company. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean...
It's a differentiator for sure.
I understand it. Yeah, I understand it, but I also understand that the Amplify is very specifically geared toward home users, or attempting to.
Yes.
And in that market at this point, like Eero, app only, Firewalla has been a fairly recent name that I see everywhere, app only. I think there's a lot of freedom to enrich the experience with an app that you just don't get with a web interface.
You're not wrong. But I know it's a matter of, like, if you create the web interface, then you have to support the web interface, and then you have to update the web interface and so forth. But I don't know. I get it.
And web interfaces are historically difficult, so.
Yeah, and you know what? It just cuts into the goddamn margins. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it is. Because all of those things that I mentioned were things that cut into the margins.
Well, it's also less secure when you have a web interface. If you really want to get into, I mean, you can make it more secure, or at least equivalently secure, but inherently it is less secure with a web interface than if you require an app and authentication.
Right, so more cutting into the margins.
I would say the app actually would cut more into the margins than just doing a web interface.
Right, but the thing there is that the app is now expected. Somebody did it because they, like you said, wanted to enrich the experience, which is a feature, and that, you know, increases sales. So now the marketplace is expecting you to have an app, and you know the app is better than any D-Link or Linksys web interface that I ever used in the mid 2000s. Apple Airport had a great interface until they fucked it up. But even the major overhaul of the airport interface was not terrible. It just was not as good as the original. It's a lot like disk utility. The new disk utility looks nicer, but it's more shitty. Title.
Yeah, I mean, you're certainly not wrong. And I did like the old airport utilities. But the one thing, just for the whole margins argument, if having both cut into the margins, then, or if that was a driving factor, then like Asus and Netgear, Belkin, you know, the more inexpensive options that you find off the shelf at, you know, multiple retailers.
Best Buy?
I mean, a lot of those have apps, but they still offer the old web interface for configuration too.
Well, they historically have a web interface that they haven't updated in, you know, a decade.
Yeah, but I mean, the whole point is just that having both can't cut that much into margins. It has to be a design choice for a different reason.
You know, I was just thinking about if I had a Apple SoC Mac, then I could just hopefully just download the app. It wouldn't. I'm not sure if that would.
Yeah, if they allow.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Hopefully,
you have to rely on the developer to do it.
Yeah.
Though I can't see why they wouldn't. Not for something like that, unless it's just an extra level of overhead from a troubleshooting perspective. You know, if it didn't natively run.
Right. I was trying to think. I think when the first set of Silicon Macs came out, Apple Silicon Macs came out. I think it was John Gruber that was talking about how the app that he's like, the class of app that you're guaranteed to find available for the Mac are fast food apps. He's like, they're all there. You can download all the fast food apps that were made for the phone onto the Mac. They want you to do it.
Yeah, I can see where that makes sense.
You know, Walmart has an app and a web interface.
Walmart has what?
They have an app. Slightly. Sorry, they have an app and a web interface. Apple has an app and a web interface. And by web interface, I mean website.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I was just thinking that, you know, Walmart, is their app really doing anything other than a web render anyway?
You mean like
I mean, realistically, that's what a lot of it. Yeah, I mean, realistically, that's what most of the retailer apps are in the first place.
I don't think. Do you think? It feels like, I could be wrong, but it feels like Amazon is not that.
I think Amazon is definitely doing more than just that, but yeah. I don't know that it's anything different that they do for other platforms. I just think that whatever they built with the whole experience in mind.
Yeah, whether or not it's a web interface, it's definitely one of the better apps. And you know, that's a thing. Yeah. Anyway, there was another app that I was gonna. Oh yeah, Facebook. It used to be such garbage until they made it a native app. Now it's just garbage in a different way.
Yeah, and I mean, another good example of that is the Twitter app. I mean,
Oh
it's
my
absolutely,
God.
it's pure garbage. And as of what, the 12th, I think it was, it's the
Yeah.
only option.
Yeah. I'm trying to, there was a third party. So for a long time, Twitter didn't have an app at all. They just had the web interface, and there were a bunch of third party apps, like Tweetbot, Twitterific, and one of them, Twitter bought one of them and based their you know first party app, the first party app on that. It might have been Twitterific.
Yep. The first app was Tweety, or
Tweety.
the one that they purchased. It was what was his name? I want to say it was Lauren Brickner.
Yeah, Lauren Brichter. He made Letterpress. He's the developer of Letterpress.
Yeah, and he wrote the original Tweety app and sold it to Twitter.
Awesome. Good for him. He got out just in time.
Yeah.
Because that was, I don't know, like 2011 maybe? I don't know. It's been at least a decade.
Have you, so with all of the recent changes as far as Twitter and all goes, I have officially ended in my interactions or involvement there. If I can't use Tweetbot, then I refuse. It's a dead service to me.
That's what Elon Musk bought it for. He bought it to destroy. He was the Edward Norton who was like, I need something beautiful to destroy.
That's a pretty good comparison. Where I was going with that, though, is have you heard anything about Mastodon, which seems to be where all the cool kids are going?
I've heard a lot of things about Mastodon. I listened to the ATP podcast, and they talked about it at length there.
Gotcha. I'm not anywhere remotely current on podcasts at this point. I should be. I've had enough downtime, but I chose to use that time for other things.
Yeah, I'm like, there was like maybe a stretch of 10 days where I'm like, I need some more podcasts. I listened to every single one of our podcasts. I listened to all of ATP. I listened to all of the talk show, which is a very good podcast, and all of Reconcilable Differences. So like and those are all long podcasts. I think ours is the shortest of those. And they're all long form podcasts, and there's like 10 days where like I didn't, I'm like, where's my next podcast? And then they all dropped shows end of last week. So there's like a 3-hour talk show that I'm working my way through.
Yeah, I definitely need to catch up.
So I think these are podcasts where you don't really need to catch up. You can just jump right in because it's current. They're all current events. What I mean by catch up is I start at the newest one and listen, and then I see if there are any old ones that I want to go back and listen to. Oh, that makes sense. That's a good way to catch up. Because I do it this stupid way, and I have to listen to the oldest one and catch up, in chronological order, which isn't ideal for podcasts of current events. If you're going to listen to hardcore history, then that is the way to do it. I know we've talked about that podcast.
Yes, we have.
Okay, then I don't want to talk about it again, which is kind of unlike me. I usually want to talk about it again, but I don't. Unless you want to. Like, I'm okay if you want to. I just have nothing new to say about it. That's why I don't want to.
Yeah, I asked the question about Mastodon just because I was curious if you understood the way it was built. Because I haven't investigated it all, but what little bit I've figured out is that it's interesting from a technological standpoint and from a potential expansion standpoint and interaction with maybe an app that could interact primarily with any select number of different servers, or not servers, services, with Mastodon being one of them, because there's a common open format that it's leveraging that's supposedly standardized, but in reading more, learning more, it's not as standardized as you would hope for, potentially. And so what is working with, or what is functionally working between, I'll use Ivory as an example. That's the one that Tapbots is
I was about to
creating.
say, I knew Tapbots was...
Yeah, they have launched. So Ivory is available in the App Store. But like one of the things that was talked about, and Federico Viticci apparently mentioned this in his write-up, is that because of Mastodon using this common schema or API thing, that he would love to see client apps built for like Mastodon also be able to interact with other services, and so you actually had a universal timeline for the different services you're subscribed to, so you could follow people for the short format content on Mastodon, and you could follow a picture feed or blog posts or website or whatever. Like there's this possibility for that type of ecosystem to grow out of the way the federated idea behind Mastodon works, and this API and everything else. And so it seems like it could be very interesting in the coming years. Obviously nowhere close to that at the moment, but it's, to me, it is a fascinating evolution of how do we fix some of the other problems with the rise and reign of singular social platforms. How do we get away from that and make it more user-centric and based on user preferences?
Yeah. See, what I can't help but think is how app.net was a decade too early. Do you remember like 10 years ago, app.net was gaining some traction, and then they had to shut it down. I think it was 2013 they shut it down.
I was trying to, I recall the name. I don't recall much about the premise.
There was some stuff going on that people didn't like. People were kind of like, oh, what's going on with Twitter? So, no, and it was 10 years ago that they were kind of ramping up. People didn't like Twitter, stuff that was going on at Twitter 10 years ago. So a bunch of nerds but they started, they reserved their app.net names, and it was supposed to, it was maybe going to be a Twitter replacement, but it just never got the traction it needed. Whereas, what's happening at Twitter right now is just like, I'm not a Twitter. I have a username for Twitter, but I'm not. I can't tell you the last time I looked at it. I don't know why. Because I know so many people in the sort of circles that I run around in that it would make more sense for me to be a Twitter user, but I don't know. I just never got into it, and yeah. So anyway, I can't remember where I was going with that.
That's all right.
Mastodon
at this point, go ahead.
I'd say Mastodon seems like it will be here a bit longer than app.net.
Well, I think the biggest thing that practically guarantees that is that you have a wave of third-party app developers with some time to kill that want to take their skill set to something else that they're not constrained by.
Right. I mean, that's kind of like what made the ecosystem kind of rich, is because there were all these third-party clients that function in a way. If you if you want to look at Facebook, you have to go to facebook.com or download the Facebook app, and that's it. That's all you got. And that kind of makes sense because it's a very mainstream product. They don't really need more. Same thing with Instagram, which is owned by Meta, as is Facebook, but it wasn't initially. But initially it was just an iOS app, and I don't know when they expanded to Android, but it's only been like a year or two that they've had you could log in you could log into your account on the web. So, but if you look at Twitter, there were third-party apps before Twitter itself had a first-party app, and because for whatever reason, people that develop apps were drawn to it. So you have all these third-party apps. So it was interesting.
Yeah, for the reasoning I always gave is that it fit my attention span. Like if you couldn't get something across in 140 characters, I probably didn't need to read it. And of course, over time that changed, right? Because you started having people threading stuff and everything else. And but I mean, the platform evolved. There's a point where the character limit should have been changed earlier than it was, and even it was doubled at one point, and that still didn't fit what the platform had changed to become predominantly. So I don't know. It was one of those things where that was the only reason I ever really used it, was because I could read nice, short, succinct statements and then, call it a day. And then when it started becoming more and more threading and everything else, I just didn't pay as much attention. Like I was at a point where I really never sat and scrolled or kept it open. It would be let's just check it today kind of thing. And that might be once a week or every couple of weeks or whatever. So it had already, over time, declined to a point where I didn't care. But I really don't care if I can't use my client of choice to connect and look at anything, because the native app is just so horrible. I mean, it's the same kind of thing with Facebook and Instagram at this point. Timelines are no longer just who I follow. It's a combination of who I follow and suggestions and things that are popular and whatever else that's algorithmically defined to pop up, and I'm just sick of it. I mean, if I'm looking at an app with a social media presence, something where I have decided to follow certain people, the premise of all of these apps, I shouldn't have to scroll for a while to see something from someone I follow.
Right.
That's bad. That's poor design.
Yes.
And it's part of why I've continually reduced my social media presence over the past few years.
So I think what happens, I think Instagram is a very good example of this, because they started out as pictures. Like here, beautiful pictures. Or not even beautiful pictures. It was even when camera phones were just barely good enough to want to look at it on a small screen. And which is why they had all those filters. And then it got, phone cameras got better, so everybody had a better phone in their pocket, so you could get better pictures. And I don't know where it lost its identity, but now it is a place where you can see some friends' pictures sometimes, and really a TikTok wannabe. Oh, and highly specific ads for the user. I'm very surprised by how well targeted the ads I see on my Instagram are. They are really well targeted.
Yeah, and I know we've talked about that before, but that's the only place where I'll actually see an ad and click on it, which I think is the only reason I still occasionally scroll through Instagram, even with my annoyances at the aforementioned lack of seeing things. Yeah, because a lot of times it's what kind of things are they recommending now?
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's a good place for that. I see. So now, the TikTok side of it, they are heavy into the reels are really focusing on TikTok, a TikTok style social media platform, and somehow the algorithm's really odd for me. I'll see tons of cat videos, and I'm not even that into cats, but I see tons of cat videos, mostly because I'm probably because I'm sending them to Becca. But then there's a bunch of thirst trap videos, and I don't know I'll have like a bunch of them, like, and then I won't have any for a long, long time. But I consistently have cat videos. I'll see cat videos. Sometimes I'll see thirst traps. Sometimes I'll see woodworking. But I don't know what it's going to be. But lately it's been reliable with the cats. Oh, and clips from Family Feud with Steve Harvey.
I certainly see plenty of cat videos, but that's not surprising given the. I'm sure some of the like targeted ads rely somewhat on IPs as well, and so you have my wife running an account for our cats, and so you have that kind of relationship and an algorithmic matching of, hey, this location seems to be really into cats, etc. So I think that's just kind of ubiquitous for most people. But funnily enough, I get a lot of climbing videos, a lot of jiu-jitsu videos, which that one I'm not surprised by, just because I've spent a lot of time looking for videos and clips on techniques as I was trying to figure out a lot of the basic foundational elements there. And probably the most common outside of that tends to be, I don't know what category I would put, kind of random influencer type of people that it's always like either Canada, like someplace where it's hot, or really cold kind of thing, like at an extreme. It's never just some random guy in Kansas, for example. It's always some either extremely hot, like tropical place, or honestly, as far as I can tell, all the rest of them are Canada. But I'm sure there's some other places mixed in.
Maybe a little Russia.
Maybe.
I was just remembering that my algorithm on Instagram used to be a lot more van life videos, and I haven't seen those in all. I actually get a lot. I do
see a few of those sprinkled in, which is I've never looked at anything for van life, so I assume that just comes from the cross pollination from like climbing and hiking and general outdoor adventure people.
Yeah, one of the ones I've been trying to get into my algorithm is cleaning satisfaction videos, where there's something that's dirty, they clean it on the video, and then it's clean by the end of the video, and that's very satisfying to see something, the result of some work and whatever. I started seeing those recently, but it's because I started following one, and on my Project Vigor account, all I see is climbing stuff.
I don't think I've ever even scrolled through the timeline for the podcast account. I need to do that. I haven't looked at much.
I think we should hit all these topics.
Well, we've hit most of them at this point, so we can round it out. One thing before we do, though, I've been trying to actually use the podcast account on Instagram again, finally. So I'm going to try to be better about a presence there with the show, and maybe I can start coming up with like a picture, an episode kind of thing. I don't know. So if you have ideas in that realm, like by all means, mention it as well.
I saw that you posted a picture of your setup.
Yeah. I don't know that it was really a setup photo though, but it was just hey, this is something I can do easily.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool.
So outside of the topics that we've actually covered already, there are only a couple others. Do you want to roll the dice and pick one, or you have one that speaks to you?
I'd like to make a brief comment about Biden's classified documents. I didn't realize that Wanda Sykes was on the Daily Show now, and she was talking about the way Biden's cooperating so much. It's like, did he do this so that they would come and clean his house? He's like, the joke she's made was like Biden telling the FBI, was like, hey, there could be some documents in the gutters on the house. under the leaves. You might want to go look there.
It's that kind of goes hand in hand with the way Colbert mentioned it. Whatever comment was along the lines of, this seems an awful lot like the grandkids are trying to get grandpa's stuff cleaned up. And so, a tip to the FBI to, hey, there might be classified documents in the garage. You should take all these boxes and go through them.
Yeah. Here's the difference. I remember when
there are a bunch of differences, but go ahead.
So it makes me wonder what happened to the Trump investigation, because it seemed like something was going to drop and it never did.
I'm not entirely sure. Well, it certainly hasn't progressed from where it was originally. All right, so I have kind of two feelings on the matter in general. One, I do think there's the open investigation that's just waiting to get through actually going through the documents and seeing what's there. Because there was the legal battle back and forth about having to have a special master appointed to review the documents for executive privilege or anything that would be covered under, or that would not be government documents, that would be personal, that would not necessarily need be, whatever. Like there was the initial challenge was to have a special master account appointed and accountable for sifting through and determining what was what. That was follow-up to that. It was challenged in order to allow the FBI to look at the classified documents for the criminal investigation. And then that was denied and then appealed overruled, or I don't know. Like there's been a saga. And so the last official state of affairs that I read up on was that the FBI could finally continue the criminal investigation with access to the classified documents at the heart of legal battles without worrying about anything else. And then that decision was challenged by the former president's lawyers. So I don't know if that was ever cleared or if it goes... Like I haven't caught back up on that state of the case. I just know that the whole reason nothing is progressing is because it's currently tied up in a legal battle over even being able to access the documents to continue an investigation.
I gotcha. That makes sense.
And so this is where it's also in stark contrast to the Biden administration, where the Department of Justice has the documents and they're looking at them. They're reviewing them for whatever purposes they're going to review them for. Like there hasn't been a legal challenge. There hasn't been an argument or anything. It's just, we found these. We want to turn them over.
Yeah. And that's a huge difference, a stark difference between the current president and the prior president. And,
which is, of course, not surprising given the stark differences between the two in the first place.
Right. And the thing I think about it is that just as much as I wanted the FBI to investigate Trump, I want them to investigate Biden as well. I was like, this is like, just because I voted for the guy or I like him better than the other guy doesn't mean I don't want the same outcome for the same actions.
True. And at this point you have to add Pence into the ring because classified documents were found in Pence's house as well.
I didn't realize that.
Yep, that was the past day or two.
Oh wow! Oh yeah, I've missed anything news related. I've missed in the past.
That's part of what prompted me putting it in as a topic, because at this point, like, I kind of want you to investigate every living president, former president, congressman, senator. Just look and see what documents they have. Let's get this under control and fix whatever seems to be broken with people being able to just take classified documents home.
But at least they don't have an email server.
I did see one write-up that was saying that so much gets classified that the classification system is kind of broken.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I don't know what I would expect out of an investigation and trying to fix it either. It just seems like at this point we're very clearly. So here's the thought process I had, and this is part of what I kind of alluded to in the notes too. We very, very clearly have a system that allows government secrets to escape for whatever method you want to come down to. Like you have 3 different people who have had classified information at their home or at their place of residence to varying degrees for varying amounts of time. How it got there, completely irrelevant to the discussion at the moment. What it illustrates is that our government can't keep a secret in the first place. Not very well. And at the same time, people want to believe there's this huge government conspiracy on so many different things. It's like, you do realize how efficient you have to have so many different people and groups and everything else operating without any little mistake, like this kind of stuff. We're not there and never will be there. And it's the same reason social engineering works so well. The human person, at the end of the day, is the weakest link.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't have a lot more to say about it, just that, yeah, they found documents, investigate them.
And it's kind of unlocking a brief digression. This is why I find conspiracy theories so hard to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or,
they're like, I've heard some good conspiracy theories, but they leave out, they get complex enough that they forget, oh, let's look at the simplest thing here, and that's why it's not going to work. Like the simplest thing with like conspiracy theories, like government conspiracy theories, is like the government can't keep a secret. Yeah, you came up with a lot of reasons that that sound good. I don't want to say make sense, but sound interesting about why we didn't go to the moon. But you forgot the government's not good at keeping secrets.
That's what's the old saying? I've heard it once or twice. Like, how do you ensure a secret gets out? You have more than one person know it.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly how you make sure. It's like, if I want my mom to know something or I want my sisters to know something, I just tell one of them, and they'll find out. That's how I do it.
It might take a while, sure, depending on what it is and how much somebody tries, but nobody keeps a secret. Well, I should rephrase. Nobody keeps a secret that isn't theirs.
Yeah.
So out of the other couple of topics, have you watched The Last of Us at all? No. Are you familiar with it?
It got put on my radar Sunday, literally this past Sunday, and an acquaintance said that it was really good, but I don't know the video game either.
Yeah, so I knew there was a video game. I've never played it. I didn't know. I knew at a real rough level kind of what the premise was. Not obviously after watching the show, even a rough enough level to have been able to say what it was. I just had this vague notion. But I have watched the first couple of episodes, which are, as of the time we record, the only 2 that were available unless one dropped today. And it's interesting, and I will see where it goes. I mean, I certainly don't want to spoil anything about it. But the main reason I even chose to watch it was because I do like Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
He's playing, one of the lead roles, and so I figured it was worth at least giving it a shot and seeing, how they did.
Yeah. So far, so good.
Who knows? Maybe it'll make me go back and play part of the game. Yeah. So far, I'm I don't know if I would say I'm enjoying it necessarily yet. Like I'm at this point, I'm still kind of feeling out where it's going and understanding enough about the story. I think by the end of the second episode, you get a pretty good feel for the gist of the story. So at this point, I just want to see what's next, and that'll tell me or that'll help me form an opinion on whether I'm enjoying the show or if it's just a novel idea that I kind of want to follow and see where it goes. If that makes sense, because it's not really a novel idea. It's just a different take on an idea that I like the approach. It's not necessarily drastically different, but it's different enough.
So that makes me think of the show Halo. They made that into a show.
I heard it didn't do very well, and I've never watched it. But I never felt the compelling reason to watch it.
Yeah, so my son and I watched it. Luke and I watched it because Luke loves Halo. Like, that's one of his, like, at this point, I think it's probably his favorite franchise of anything. And, it's like right up there with Minecraft. And, and I gotta say, this is really cool. My kids are also really into DuckTales. Anyway, yeah, it was garbage. Like, it was not good. Like, the thing that I wanted to see the fights. I wanted to see battle scenes, and there were so few battle scenes. Like, it just made me want to turn it off and play the game, because I wanted to, like, have an experience, like a decent Halo experience, not what the TV show provided.
It is fascinating that we've gotten this far, and for whatever reason, video game adaptations are still something that Hollywood struggles with.
Yeah.
And I can't even say Hollywood at this point, but media production in general struggles with.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Did you watch the Uncharted movie?
Uncharted? No. Yeah, wait. Which one is Uncharted?
Nathan Drake is the character's name. Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg played in the movie.
Yes, I did watch that. I liked it.
I thought it was okay. I didn't have anything that I would knock against it necessarily. It was entertaining, but it just felt like using the Uncharted name and just telling a story. Yeah.
It was derivative, but I enjoyed it a lot. Which reminds me, I watched all of That 90s Show, I think in about a day, because there were like 10 episodes. They're 20-minute long, and I had some flights. I had 2 flights and a 2-hour layover.
What'd you think of it?
It's not as good as the best season.
I didn't realize it was out, so.
Yeah. It dropped last Thursday, I think. It's not as good as the best season of That 70s Show, but significantly better than the worst season of That 70s Show.
Okay. So they're at least hitting the bar.
Yeah. Like, I laughed out loud several times. I still say Bel Air has been the best remake.
I need to take some time and watch that. It was actually, so I wasn't planning to watch The Last of Us at this point. I was going to wait, let the season build up. Yeah. And then when I went to Roe,
that's what I'm waiting on.
I think it was Tuesday. Yeah. So I went to Roe Tuesday, and I didn't have anything else queued up already. And I knew there were multiple things on my list, but I saw a little advertisement blurb for The Last of Us and just happened to click on it and realized the first episode was available, and so I watched it instead. I'll get there.
Yeah.
I'm now that I'm not recovering, I at least am working out again, and so at least a couple of days a week I'll row, and I should be able to get to Bel Air before too long.
Cool. I was trying to think. I felt like there was something else I wanted to say. I guess not.
Well, we only have one topic we haven't gotten to yet. Do we want to get to that? I don't have much to say on it, but it's interesting to me.
I don't know anything about it, so Tell me what it is. Just at least tell me what it is.
So I didn't realize that the CDC actually released like physical activity guidelines in the past. And so recently they've updated them and released version 2 of those guidelines. And it's like a 180-page PDF that I guess the part that I found funny is they call out in their report, the report is for professionals. And so in order to try to make a more customer-friendly or consumer-friendly read and understanding of what's in the report, they're also doing a marketing campaign, and they have data and information on it. And I mean, it makes sense overall. But like I saved a copy of the report. I'll kind of work through it eventually. But the big takeaway is just that adults, and they do breakdowns for kids, teenagers, adults, older adults. And I didn't look at all the categories. I just looked at the adults category. But the current recommendation is that adults should get 150 minutes or more of moderate aerobic exercise weekly, and a couple of days of some strength building, strength training type of exercise weekly. I don't remember what the time breakdown or all was, but on the strength piece. But overall, what I found hilarious is that anything that elevates heart rate at all counts as moderate exercise under the guidelines. And I have a tough time reconciling moderate exercise with just increasing my heart rate at all. Because when I think moderate, I think like a 20+% increase in resting heart rate. And I don't know where I came up with that, but that was something that for me was a funny takeaway. So I figured I would mention it, but that's all I really had to mention about it.
Yeah, I think you get that guideline with how sedentary everybody is, or most, the vast majority of the population in this country is. So I kind of get that.
Yeah, I agree. It's just the use of the word moderate to me is where it's
You mean so? What's less than moderate? Light?
minimal.
Minimal.
Yeah, minimal. Minimal exercise.
See, I think that's probably like in a marketing sense, it's off-putting, and it's going to have the opposite.
It's
effect.
too far the other extreme.
Yeah. Well, it's just,
I mean,
yeah.
light would work fine.
Light. That's where it is. That's right. That's where it should be. A light workout.
And
Light
I mean, the
exercise.
report does also call out, look, any activity is better than no activity. So any activity for 150 minutes plus kind of thing. Which comes out to, what, 2 hours?
30 minutes. It's 30 minutes, 5 days a week.
2.5 hours, yeah. Yeah. And I think part of it too is now my assessment is skewed. Like where I was, going on 3 years ago, maybe I would have considered moderate exercise in the same framework. Maybe I wouldn't look at it the way I look at it now, because now I'm attempting to elevate my heart rate into zone 3-ish for my cardio workouts, and like to me that's fairly categorically moderate exercise-wise, even though I guess technically that would be high intensity or vigorous. Vigorous is the word they use.
They don't say
according
strenuous.
To the CDC guidelines. No, vigorous. It's vigorous activity.
Strenuously object. I vigorously object.
I might have more when I actually finish reading through. I just looked at the high-level summary, but I don't know. I'm glad that they've released guidelines. I guess I should have known that they released guidelines before. So now I'm kind of curious what was in the original guidelines. But overall, apparently, I'm meeting the CDC recommended guidelines for physical activity without a problem.
You are exceeding the CDC's expectations. I didn't have much more to say about that. We have a number of different ways set up for you to get in touch with us to provide feedback, ask questions, or just comment in about something we've discussed.
You can hit us up on Twitter or Instagram at untitled_hosts, or shoot an email over to untitled.hosts@gmail.com.
Or get in touch directly with Jesse at jthart.com, or get in touch with me, John, via telepathy.
If you would like to support our work or are interested in listening to our new after show feed, head over to patreon.com/theUntitledPodcast and take a look at the options we have set up.
Thank you for listening.
We hope you've enjoyed the show.
And we hope to connect with more of you as we continue this journey.
That's a wrap.